Majime announced to his empty room upon his return. He set down his heavy briefcase and opened the wood-frame window, humming a line from a popular song, "Under the window, the river Kanda," except that in his case it wasn't the river Kanda, but a narrow canal. He sang anyway, out of habit. The Ferris wheel in Korakuen amusement park loomed high in the evening sky. He felt worn out. Leaving the light off, he sprawled on the floor in the middle of the six-mat room. It had been nearly 3 months now since his transfer, but he still wasn't used to his new job. The hours were 9 to 6, with none of the usual obligatory drinking with colleagues afterward. It should have been many times easier to handle than his old job in sales, yet he was always worn out. Today he'd taken the long way home, transferring on the subway line even though it was an easy walk from Genbu to his lodging house. He'd wanted to watch passengers ride the escalator, but the sight hadn't cheered him the way he'd hoped. He'd been a little ahead of the evening rush hour, so the passengers were mostly old people and housewives. Perhaps unused to station escalators, they had fumbled and ridden in chaotic fashion, with none of the orderly beauty he craved. All at once, he felt a heavy warmth on his stomach. He lifted his head and checked. Yes, it was the cat, Tora. Whenever he came home and opened the window, Tora dropped in to say hello. There was nothing on hand to eat, and Majime didn't have the energy to go out shopping. He could make do with instant ramen noodles, but what about Tora? "Dried sardines okay with you?" he asked, stroking the cat's head. Tora purred and flicked his bobtail, striking Majime on the chest. The pressure of the cat's weight was uncomfortable. Tora was getting tubby. Majime had been living in this lodging house for nearly 10 years. A college freshman in the beginning, he was now pushing 30. Tora, once a bedraggled kitten mewing piteously in the rain, had grown into this oversized specimen of a ginger tabby. Only the 2-story wooden building in this quiet residential neighborhood was unchanged. Maybe it had already been so old when he had moved in that it couldn't look any older. With Tora still curled up on him, he reached up and pulled the long cord hanging from the fluorescent light overhead. He called it his lazy cord. There was a small gold bell attached to the tip, and he tapped it to rouse Tora's interest. When the big cat finally jumped off him, he stood up. Looking around the brightened interior, Majime sighed. The first-floor room was pretty drab. All his clothes and everyday items were shelved in the built-in closet behind sliding doors. A small writing desk and wall-to-wall bookshelves were the only other pieces of furniture in the room. Still, more books lay piled, or spilled, on the tatami mats. In fact, this was only part of Majime's collection. His books occupied the entire downstairs floor. Nowadays, nobody wanted to live in a lodging house. Like maple leaves leaving a branch, the other lodgers had gradually drifted away, leaving only him. He'd been quick to take advantage of the opportunity, moving books first into the room next door, then the one 2 doors down. Finally, his landlady, Take, had vacated her first-floor room by the stairs to live on the second floor. She was a good-hearted soul and readily accepted the new arrangement. "Those floor-to-ceiling bookshelves of yours are like extra pillars. This way, I don't have to worry about earthquakes." The weight of the pillars threatened to push the lodging house off its foundation, but neither of them worried about such details. She never raised the rent, and Majime was so absent-minded that he went right on paying for the one room without stopping to think that his rent didn't cover the extra space he had appropriated. And so he and his books occupied the downstairs, and she had the upstairs to herself. What if the interior of a room mirrors the interior of its inhabitant? He wondered. That would make him someone who stored up words but couldn't put them to use, a dry-as-dust bore. He took out a pack of Nupporo No. 1 soy sauce flavor from the cupboard. A nearby discount shop sold this instant ramen by the case at a bargain price,